These are the flowers of this Thunbergia grandiflora. These Thunbergias, they're a group of tropical climbing plants by and large, and they're annual or perennial. And then climbers, they're named after Carl Thunberg, who was one of the student of that famous Linnaeus, and who was dispatched to Asia and Africa and all to collect the plant specimens for the Swedish Academy. And this particular one, this Thunbergia grandiflora, it's a very beautiful plant, no doubt. It's originally from Bengal, and it's also called as Bengal clock vine, because these they climb in a clockwise way, these shoots and all. Like here you can see it's all clockwise, so that's why it's called as clock vine, Bengal clock vine. And it has a couple of names, but official name is grandiflora, Thunbergia grandiflora. And then so originally from Bengal, and then that side eastern from Bengal, Assam, Burma, all the way up to China and all. It's not a native of South India, our west tropical rainforest areas of South India, Western Ghats and all. It's not a native, nor except in Bengal and that northeast, it's not a native of any other part of India. But it has become tremendously popular as a garden plant, and it has some quite unique properties. That is they are such a versatile plant that they can it is very vigorous, climbs up to 15 meters. So it climbs up to 15 meters, and if it gets a good tree to climb on. And the reason it has now finally become one of the top global weed, invasive weed in large parts of the world, in Florida and Australia, all kind of places it has gone and settled because of these gardening chaps. And the thing is, it propagates from seeds, and the seeds they burst open and they throw those seeds, the pods burst open and the seeds are thrown to a distance. Then a small fragment of cutting also is enough to propagate it. Then root fragments also are enough to start a new plant. And then the stolon also, and then so from the roots it can multiply, from the tuberous part of the roots it can, fragments it can multiply, from seeds it can multiply, and from cuttings it can multiply. So it has numerous ways of propagating itself, and it is such a vigorous plant that it can cover entire one acre of these riparian areas where the rich lush soil and water sources are there. In these places it can completely overpower all the vegetation and cover 100% also. So for all practical purposes it's a deadly invasive weed. And then in our South India, no insect is able to eat these leaves. So it has no competition and no pests. Naturally it will take over any plot that it gets thrown in, and then after it becomes a invasive weed, normally they chop it and then throw it into the gutter or somewhere, and those little fragments are enough to sprout once again, and then they get washed down by the rainwater into the river beds and stream beds. There also they can settle down, spread widely, and become a real invasive pest. So I don't recommend this plant at all, except in that Bengal and those places. It's not. I don't recommend this plant, and it is quite popular in this by these landscape chaps and in all these kind of formal gardens and all, because it's pretty hardy, and then it covers the place nicely, and then beautiful flowers all around the year. The flowering goes on. So for all these reasons, it is everyone is using this plant and creating new enormous competition for our local native species. Mainly these bumblebees are coming to fertilize these Thunbergia, because it's quite a large flower, and these bumblebees fit in nicely into that cavity. So this is the Thunbergia grandiflora, today's plant. The Thunbergias that are good for South India is Thunbergia fragrans, which I'll be doing. I've located a nice plant, I'll be covering it soon. So this Thunbergia fragrans is all right for South India. It also is quite hardy and nice, not so vigorous like this grandiflora, but it also has pretty flowers all around the year. It flowers, it's hardy, and all those kind of things. So this particular specimen has been grown on the somebody's wall, and then it has become weed, so they have trimmed it over there, all that chopped it. Now those fragments will wash down into the river, into the stream, and drain and river downstream, and it will go all the way and settle here and there and start multiplying wherever it falls. So that's the story of this grandiflora.